Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. But we do have some news breaking. The quote-unquote framework, you know, the one where 10 Republican and 10 Democrat senators all got together and came up with this uber compromise on gun control because we have to, quote-unquote, do something. That's the hashtag that's making its way around. We have to do something, of course, ignoring the fact that for 50 years, gun owners, through various organizations and individually, have been doing something, teaching safe gun handling, teaching safe, responsible gun storage, teaching people to shoot guns safely, handing out tens of millions of free gun locks so people can lock their guns away when and if they choose or want to or need to. We're the gun safety people, although the gun control people have tried to and actually been pretty successful at grabbing onto that term and using that and try to confuse everything. They say now they're the gun safety people when, in point of fact, for them, gun safety means nobody has a gun. And they say, well, that would be safe. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't. Because you have all these people, millions and millions of people who use guns to protect themselves and their children and their families and other people every year. Every year, more than 1 million people use guns in self-defense in the United States. So, no, getting rid of all guns would not make them safer. It would make them victims. Yeah. So anyway, we have this compromise that's been set up, this framework. Now, understand there's no copy here. There's no text. There's no words. There's nothing written. There's no draft. There's no bill. It's just a loose agreement of here's some things we think we can get together on. And then we had this week, John Cornyn, he's the lead on the Republican side. Texas Senator John Cornyn goes to the state meeting of Republicans and gets booed for 11 straight minutes. Booed with chants of no red flags. Booed because of his efforts to support and push gun control. Booed because he had completely lost track of what it is to be a Texan, lost track of what his constituents want. His constituents don't want more gun control. I mean, and here's the thing. Look, I get it. You get to D.C., you start going to the cocktail parties, you read the Washington Post, you're besieged by lobbyists, and you start to think, oh, this would be a reasonable thing to do. Because that's all you hear in the media. Reasonable, reasonable, reasonable. Can't you people just compromise? And I say, you know what? We've been compromising for 50 years. Every single gun control law is a compromise. And the compromise is, and you got to understand that, this is the gun banners' form of compromise. It means they don't get everything they want. They don't get to ban all the guns. But they get some of what they want. What do we get? We don't lose all our guns at once. We just lose some of our rights as we go along. That's their form of compromise. We get nothing. We get nothing. That is not a compromise. And yet some of the Republicans think they've been doing this for so long, and that's been, frankly, and look, to be honest, in times past, that was the best we were going to do, is to lose less rather than lose more. That's not where we are today. But these folks, a lot of them have been doing this for so long, they can't break out of that mold of thinking, well, it's a good compromise if we only lose a little bit. No more. No more compromise. Not 1 inch, not one gun law, not one gun right, nothing. You get nothing. And Senator Cornyn, after he had his wake-up call by being booed viciously, within a few hours, announced that he was walking away from the so-called framework. So maybe he is, in fact, educable and trainable. It's the rolled-up newspaper method, of course. You swat him on the nose. What happens from this point forward, I don't know. We did have the wild card thing that happened here. Talk about your wild cards. Let's see here. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC. God, you gotta love her. She is just so much fun to watch. She has, at this point, ticked off most of the Democrats by announcing that the framework, quote unquote, framework to create a quote unquote common sense gun control bill is in fact racist. And the Democrats should not be involved with it. Well, I understand why the Democrats would be upset with her for saying that, because it pretty much sabotages the whole thing. At the same time, I have to give her some credit here, because she is in fact historically correct. All gun control is racist. It's racist in its origins, where it originally came from. Because remember, all gun control is either racist or elitist, whichever you prefer, because the idea is to keep guns away from those people, whatever those people are. It could be blacks, it could be poor people, it could be rural people, it could be people you just don't trust, people you don't like. I mean, it doesn't matter. All gun control is about keeping guns away from, thus keeping power away from, quote unquote, those people. And historically, it's been directed very largely at the black population in the U.S., disarming them, keeping them in permanent victim status. And so AOC correctly calls gun control racist. But the problem is her party really, really likes gun control. And she has screwed the whole thing up for them. This all happened actually in the afternoon on Friday. We're talking on Sunday. So nothing happening this weekend that I'm aware of. I think this probably puts the nail in the coffin for this framework compromise, and that's a very good thing. I will compromise on gun control law. Don't think I have no compromise in me. I will. We will start off by repealing only half the gun control laws in existence, rather than repealing them all. And as the gun control people like to say, whenever they get a gun control law passed, if I can repeal half of the gun laws, that would be a good first step. We'll work our way toward the rest of them, because there absolutely is no evidence that any gun control law in the U.S. has ever reduced crime. The CDC, Centers for Disease Control, actually did a survey of 51 studies on gun control, and the CDC said it could come up with no evidence that gun control laws have ever reduced crime or reduced violence. And yet we keep wanting to do it. The Democrats do. And I hate to make this a Democrat versus Republican thing, because I'm not real fond of a lot of the Republicans, but that's just the way the votes break on the thing. So that's where we are.